Good evening. Welcome to the November 6, 2023 meeting of the Stillwater City Council. This time I'll call the meeting to order and ask that you all stand and join us in the Pledge of Allegiance. Pledge allegiance to the flag
of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
All right, first up tonight we have a proclamation in recognition of National Runaway Month. I don't think we have anybody who was able to make it from Payne County Youth Services here for us, so we'll accept this on their behalf and make sure we get it to them after the meeting. But the proclamation says, whereas National Runaway Prevention Month began in 2002 and is presented each year by the National Runaway Safe Line, the federally designated national crisis and communication system for youth ages 12 to 21 who have run away, are considering leaving home, or are experiencing homelessness. And whereas runaway youth are often expelled from their home, have experienced trauma, struggle to meet basic needs, and are at increased danger of falling into high-risk situations, including human trafficking. And whereas Payne County Youth Services is working to raise awareness, provide support, and offer resources for vulnerable young people in our community. Now, therefore, I, William Joyce, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, do hereby proclaim November as National Runaway Prevention Month and encourage all residents to unite in support and advocacy to provide safe alternatives for this vulnerable population of young people. We greatly appreciate the work that Payne County Youth Services does to serve the youth in our community. We also have a proclamation in support of a Heartland Flyer extension in Oklahoma. I'll go ahead and read this, but if you're not aware of, well, it's in the proclamation. We'll just leave it at that. Whereas Heartland Flyer extension desires to connect additional communities in Oklahoma to include proposed stations at Edmond, Guthrie, Perry, and Ponca City, to further extend existing passenger rail service in San Antonio, Texas, Dallas, Texas, Fort Worth, Texas, and Oklahoma City, Oklahoma, Wichita, Kansas, and Kansas City, Missouri. And whereas the Heartland Flyer extension in these additional 4 cities would increase destinations along the I-35 corridor in America's heartland and attribute to the revitalization of the 400-plus mile reconnection efforts. And whereas extension points would increase transportation options and economic development growth opportunities for residents and visitors. And whereas having the ability to connect urban, suburban, and rural cities and states is critically important for passenger rail efficiency and to travel for business, work, pleasure, and to medical appointments. And whereas the Heartland Flyer extension anticipates environmental, congestion mitigation, and other public benefits as identified in 3 existing economic impact studies. And whereas these additional communities would join more than 5.26 million, per U.S. Census 2021 data, other residents from the existing Heartland Flyer extension communities to increase multimodal options. Now, therefore, I, William Joyce, Mayor of the City of Stillwater, Oklahoma, do hereby encourage the Heartland Flyer extension program to include Edmond, Guthrie, Perry, and Ponca City as a transportation option, economic influencer, and asset in the development of multimodal communities. Do we have a...
Yes, we do.
Mr. Lanneman? Yes. We appreciate you being here and for bringing this issue before us, and excited to support the extension of the Heartland Flyer service.
I want to thank the council.
Feel free to come to the mic for us.
Let me congratulate the council for taking this resolution. That puts the city in the same company as 50 other cities that have now, cities, counties, and state governments that have passed that resolution. Our Heartland Flyer, or the train through this area, is one of the main lines of the BNSF track, and so it should be a very nice ride on that track. We lost the train through that area, the Lone Star, in 1979, when politicians didn't step up to save it, and so we've been struggling, and I've been working on it for 15 years. There's lots of positive things that have gone on recently. The bipartisan infrastructure bill passed that put $66 billion in for rail. And so the KDOT and ODOT have joined together to put in a request for the route designation. And we are very hopeful that we'll have a positive announcement this month. In fact, KDOT has announced on Wednesday that they will have a virtual meeting, and we're crossing our fingers that it might be a positive announcement that they're going to be making. Of course, I don't know that to be the fact, but we've been working on this a long time. If people are interested in that, I have all the resolutions out on northernflyeralliance.com. And also, I'm a board member for the Rail Pastors Association, and that can be found at narprail.org. And so all those resolutions you can see out there, and it's amazing over the years how positive things have happened. Texas failed to pay their amount this year, and the North Council of Governments in Dallas came up with $800,000 to keep the train running this year. So kudos to them for doing that for us to keep the train running.
Absolutely.
Thank you very much.
Thank you for being here.
Thank you.
All right, next up, Mr. Bobby Winnell is here to give us an update on the 2024 version of the Mid-South.
Thank you, Mayor. Thank you, councilors. Thank you so much for having me and letting me come up. And first, I just want to say, go Pokes. Yes.
Good call.
What a game this weekend. What time to be in our town. And Elliot and I snuck to the game. My son Elliot's here with me, and man, we had a great time. It's wonderful. But also, working with the city the last few years, and with Stephanie Kinder in particular, has been phenomenal for us at the Mid-South. Chief Watts, every head of every department. I just want to first and foremost say thank you guys so much for the support that you've given through these processes and through the Stephanie and what she's able to do, and the communication has just gotten so good. It's been so wonderful, and the support is felt from all of us. And yeah, it's crazy. We can't believe where we're at. We've been doing this thing now for 12 years. This will be our 13th in-person event, pending 2021. And we've gone from 121 that first year from 9 states to this year. We are right now over 2,900 from 46 states, Japan, Chile, Great Britain, Canada, and the U.S., and Washington, D.C. So this thing is on the map. We are officially still in the top 5 biggest gravel cycling event races on planet Earth, right here in Stillwater, Oklahoma. If I can get this thing to skip to the next one. Oh, here, I'll just scroll through. So 20,000 people over the last 12 years have been here from all 50 states and from 13 different countries. And here's cheers to the next 20,000 that we haven't met yet. All of this happens with a tiny crew. Right now it's Crystal and myself and Joshua McCulloch, our creative director for the Mid-South. And then we now have Tyler Seams. Still, we've had Tyler Seams for 7 years now at District as our manager, and we just brought on a new mechanic named Wiley from Arizona. And that all happens from right downtown, 7th and Husband. Like I said before, it's been going for 12 years. We opened the bike shop 12 years ago in October 2011, and then we had our first Mid-South in 2013. We've gone from Kearney to Guthrie to Perry to Pawnee Nation and Perkins as halfway point towns. And this year we're returning to Perry again, as we did last year, and taking roads southwest of town and heading on the other side of I-35 for a while. Beautiful, beautiful dirt roads. We've grown this thing from not just a cycling race, but also, as you all know, hopefully a weekend endurance festival is what we're calling it. So Thursday we start at Iron Monk and we do the big beer can release party with Iron Monk. We're continuing that. Trenton at Iron Monk has already called me and has a test brew. We're looking at a few different recipes as we do every couple years, and we've had some really fun meetings. And we have a live music partner JHS Guitar Pedals from Kansas City, Missouri is coming down this December to have a few more meetings to talk with us about how we can grow the live music portion of the event, which is free to everyone, open to the public. We have a big stage that we get to drop downtown on the corner right by the finish line and by district. And so we're hoping for at least 12, if not 15 to 16 live acts between Friday, March 15th and Saturday, the 16th of March. So far, 20,000 athletes have come. We've hosted well over 55 brands in our vendor expo. The vendor expo is also on Friday during the weekend festival. We've had an average growth of 79% for the women's field over the last 5 years, and we've had a huge increase since we created the non-binary category in 2020, with over 75 non-binary athletes from all over the country and abroad in 2023. Here's a snippet of 2024 registration. Like I said, we're over 2,900 now, and we're just missing a few states, 46 states, DC, and 5 countries. The expo, we're hoping to also grow from that 50. We had about 51 in the expo last year with sponsors. We're hoping to grow that some more, and we'll talk with Stephanie about what that platform and what areas we have to work with look like. Very short, it's abbreviated, I will say. This is based upon our post-event survey. And so we get about a 50% return on that survey whenever we send them out. So we're looking at, over the last 11 years of the event, roughly $2.7 million spent in the community. And last year alone, we're looking at about $594,000 brought to town just for the weekend. On average, people are spending about $961 during the time they're here. And from what I've heard, a lot of hotels are already sold out. Yes, I do believe that number is also low for hugs. I think there were probably like 10,000 hugs given at the finish line of the race. We have a huge reach on social, so we're getting the word out about Stillwater, Oklahoma, and the dirt roads that we have for people to ride here all year round through our social media on Instagram, Facebook, email blasts that we have that go to over 15,000 people that we've got on our email list. Our demographics, we're really proud of. Without doing a huge women's campaign and setting aside spots for them before registration, we're at an average of about a 30% organic women's field, which is really good. A lot of events are around 20% nationally, and so we feel great about that. And what we've done this year is we've encouraged women to get on the wait list after we sold out, after we opened in September, and we're just pulling them all in. So if a woman signs up, we've communicated it, you're going to get into the event. And I won't make you watch that because it's really long, but if you do have time, go to our website, so www.midsouthgravel.com, and we have a bunch of storytelling that we've done over the last few years that we've produced in-house, and I think it's phenomenal. So basically that's it. We're bringing everybody to town again. We're hoping for more vibrant music, expo, bigger fields than we've ever had. The biggest check-in we've ever had technically was this past year at 1940 something. And so now this year, if we crest over the 3,000 person mark, then I really think that we'll have over 2,000 actually check in. So this is looking to be our biggest year we've ever had. But thank you so much for everything and the support. And this is my hometown. I absolutely love it. And I can't wait to bring more people here. So thank you all so much.
Thank you, Bobby. This is just such a fantastic event right at the beginning of spring break in Stillwater. And having ridden it once, I at least 50 of it, I'm really enjoyed volunteering the last few years. Because it's awesome to be at check-in and, this person's from Virginia and the next person's from Washington, and they're all new to Stillwater and they're all excited. Just the intangible benefits that, aside from all of the actual economic benefits, the intangible benefits for our community from an event like this are great. So we really appreciate the work that you and your team do to make this possible. All right. That takes us to item 4 on the agenda, which is the consent docket. Councilors, questions, comments, or action on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second. We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, the consent docket is approved. Next up, we will have public comment on items not scheduled for public hearings. I do have 3 people signed up to speak at the meeting tonight. And the first one I have is Henri Iwahara.
I created like 3 handouts that I'm going to refer to in my 3 minutes. I know this is going to be short, so. Henri Wahara, Stillwater resident, member of the Renewable Energy Task Force. I'm here to ask the City Council SUA to delay approval of the proposed electrical rates until further review and possible tweaks are made. Since I only have 3 minutes, here are the issues that I've been able to identify as a concern. Cost allocation between user classes. I question the emphasis on peak demand usage as a basis for allocating cost of service. I also have difficulty understanding how residential users have increased coincident peak demand usage from 2020 to 2024 by 36% and non-coincident peak demand by 89% when actual kilowatt hour usage increased by only 9% and the number of residential customers increased by only 7%. So it's quite amazing to see these numbers. Bottom line, I would prefer for us to use cost allocation based on straight kilowatt hour usage. I understand that utility industry doesn't like this and they claim it's unfair, but my view is rate design is a choice, not something that should be dictated by the industry. If you could refer to the cost allocation handout. What's interesting is that the actual commercial and power and light users have increased kilowatt hour usage more than residential class users, 10 and 24% respectively. The proposed rate design has residential allocation increasing by 17.4% from the last rate study, while commercial allocation declines dramatically by 18%. Power and light is up 3.6%, industrial plunges by 58% due to loss of customers. The result, residential rates increase, particularly for low usage residential customers. Commercial rates decline dramatically, power and light and industrial remain flat. As a member of the Renewable Energy Task Force, we want to see rate proposals that encourage conservation, or at a minimum not penalize low usage customers. There is none of this mentioned in the current proposal. In fact, it does penalize low usage, low income residential customers. If you refer to the effective rate per kilowatt hour by user type handout, we note that low usage customers pay 17.93 cents per kilowatt hour versus 15.4 cents per kilowatt hour for a high usage customer in fiscal year 2028. The effect of shifting costs into the monthly customer service charge rather than keeping the service charge as minimal as possible is the issue. One reason regulated utilities tend to have lower monthly customer service charges as compared to places like ours is because they have regulators. In our case, I'm not sure who the regulators are, but I think it might be you. And finally, the last issue, which is a big elephant in the room, the revenue requirement forecast and basis for rate design. I have some concerns, some big concerns. After reviewing the proposed revenue requirement and forecast over the next 5 years, I believe there's a serious problem with not only the forecast, but the rate design methodology. I would expect that setting electrical rates would be driven by the cost of producing and delivering power to the customer. But in determining the revenue requirement to set rates, there's one item that grows larger and it's hard to dismiss. It's the transfer of funds from the SEU back to the general fund that's grown from $13.3 million in 2020 to $17.25 million in 2024 to $19.4 million in 2029. I understand that the SUA receives 1% of sales tax that was approved by voters back in 1979 and intended solely for the SUA use. Returning any SEU surplus that hovers around that level or beyond when the city is under financial distress seems reasonable, but I'm not sure how it should play. I'm not sure how it should play such an outsized role in setting electrical rates.
Thank you, sir.
Okay. Anyway,
One last thought.
The last thought is, if you look at how much the Stillwater Electrical Utility electrical service revenue requirement is, it's only $11.4 million growing to $12.2 million in 2029, which is far less than the transfer amount that the SUA transfers back to the general fund. So I'd like for you guys to try to delay the approval of the rates, and let's see if we can talk about it and see what we can do to address some of the concerns I have. Thanks a lot for the opportunity.
Thank you, sir. Appreciate you being here. Next up, I have Robin Cornwell.
My name is Robin Cornwell, 2223 North Crescent Drive, Stillwater. I also have some comments about the proposed rate changes. In the town hall presentation a couple weeks ago, Stillwater's electric rates were compared with other electric utilities in our area. So I looked at some of the other utilities to see if they offered any assistance or advice to customers about how to save energy and money on their electric bills. And I've given you a slide showing a sampling of the kinds of programs that are available through our peer utility providers. Conservation and savings incentives offered by other utility providers in the area include free home energy audits by OG&E, CEC, OK Electric Cooperative, Ponca City, and Edmond Electric. Rebates for energy efficient appliances and devices are offered by OG&E, PSO, CEC, OK Electric Cooperative, Ponca City, and Edmond Electric. Rebates for EV chargers are offered by several of the utilities. Free AC tune-up and weatherization for eligible customers from OG&E. Ceiling insulation rebates from OK Electric Cooperative. The Smart Hours program from OG&E offers reduced rates on evenings and weekends to try to encourage people to use electricity during off-peak hours. And PSO has a home energy management tool. People can go online and see how they're using energy in their home, and it'll recommend ways to save energy and save money on their electric bill. So I urge City of Stillwater to explore and implement these types of programs to complement any rate increases, to give customers ideas and incentives for conserving energy and saving money on their electric bill. And on the back of the slide, I'll just say a little bit about, this is related more to water conservation, but the Yard by Yard program is a community resiliency project that focuses on landscaping. It is available to people in Payne County through the Payne County Conservation District. The coordinator is Anita Kaufman. The Yard by Yard principles include water conservation, pesticide-free yards, soil health, food production, and wildlife habitat, particularly pollinators and birds. So I just wanted to share that as a, if water rates are going to go up, people might be interested in some tools to learn how to use less water in their yards.
Absolutely.
And I see I've used my time, so thank you for your indulgence.
Thank you for your comments. We appreciate that. Roger Gose.
Roger Ghost, 1120 East Connell. First off, I want to thank Bobby for bringing all those sales tax dollars to town so we can fix the roads while they go out and ride on the gravel. Wow. It's wonderful. Thank you. These guys are going to kill me. I support the proposed rates. I don't know enough about the electric that you were just presented. That was awesome. I wish I understood it. But our rates, we've got to get caught up. I mean, we've just not done it, and they're going to be big bumps. I looked at one of the bills the other day. Staff prepared $169 for a one-bedroom house. I hope these seniors on limited income that are, single people can afford that, and I'm going to run that study through the Housing Authority and see how it's going to affect our tenants as what we've got. But anyway, been a lot of work. This has been put out to us in like 6 weeks. Staff had a lot more time to look at it. So the questions about electric, I can understand how those have just popped up and we haven't had time to really address them. I have some concerns that cannot be resolved tonight because staff was out of office, and I will continue to work with staff on these and strive for an equitable solution or resolution. Specifically on the wastewater, are all users being equitably charged for the wastewater? Was the wastewater master plan June 2010 capital needs factored into the rates used by New Gen? They refer to a city-developed 10-year capital improvement plan, but I have not found that plan. We had a plan, I think it was 2010, so there's quite a gap, and it looks like the staff has tried to update that, but I couldn't get access to it. I can't track how they get a $6,755,000 revenue from an $8.8 per thousand base rate. No, I'm sorry, that's the base rate, and a 3.57 per thousand gallon volumetric rate. So it looks like the revenue is going to be 6.7 million, and if you look at the capital, we need it. Although the first year it runs over, but it tails off after that. Stormwater, the proposed fees are too low to get any meaningful improvements made to the drainage system. The fee has not changed since 1997. Residential and commercial are billed what about all the institutionals? I would wager that they are over 25% of the community's hard surface is institutional. 2 of the example capital projects have their headwaters at campus. Another is not listed, is the flow of the Wentz parking lot through the Greek housing. Page 80 states consider potential exemptions for public schools, nonprofits. Are they already being exempted? Should they be? Schools have a much larger tax base. Thank you.
Thank you, Roger. We appreciate all these comments and the feedback that we've gotten over the last several weeks on the rate studies, and we will take those issues up in resolutions here in just a minute. First, though, item 7 on the agenda is general orders. Consideration of possible retention of McAfee and Taft and Fulmer Sill to represent the interests of the city in pending class action litigation against 3M and EI DuPont and others involved in PFAS contamination. City Attorney Carnley will let us know a little bit more about this.
Yes, I'll just kind of briefly explain what this item is. We will see a identical general orders item on the SUA meeting as well, so I'll introduce all of it at this time. The City of Stillwater and Stillwater Utilities Authority have received notice that it is a potential claimant in the listed 3M and DuPont litigation. There are some fast approaching deadlines related to proposed settlement agreements in those cases, and so that is why I'm this evening asking that recommending and requesting approval from City Council and later during the SUA meeting, the trustees, to approve entering a legal representation agreement with McAfee and Taft and Fulmer and Sill to represent the city and SUA's interests in those cases, as well as other PFAS-related litigation. So what is this litigation about? When we're talking about PFAS, we're referring to per and polyfluoroalkyl substances or aqueous film-forming foam. This refers to a group of chemicals that are known as forever chemicals. They are chemicals that are used in so many items that they are ever present in the United States and have been deemed to be the source of certain environmental contaminations. So PFAS is a concern for municipalities because these chemicals were commonly used in firefighting foam as well as other industrial and consumer products, just a wide range of products. Cities that own and operate water, wastewater utilities, and airports are likely impacted by the use of these chemicals, and they're difficult to treat and remediate. So as a result, cities are now facing new EPA regulations that's going to require cities test for certain PFAS. So being named as a potential claimant doesn't necessarily mean that the city has contamination, just that we may be entitled to funds for testing or remediation. And as a municipality, we do anticipate that we will have regulatory burdens or possible remediation as a result of the use of these chemicals. Stillwater is certainly not alone in this. Municipalities across the country are facing the impact of PFAS and the new regulatory and testing burdens that are a result of the use of those chemicals. So again, at this point, I'm just recommending that we retain McAfee and Taft and Fulmer and Sill to represent the city in the PFAS-related litigation. The agreement is contingency-based, and all decisions relative to acceptance or rejection of any settlement agreement would remain at the sole discretion of the City Council or the SUA trustees. Happy to answer any questions. Otherwise, I have a recommended motion.
Thank you, Kimberly. Councilors, any questions? I will just note that I've been to a couple different continuing education conferences, one that, well, neither one of which is actually related to municipalities, and this issue has come up in both of them. There have been this is very widely discussed right now, and the new regulatory requirements on not just municipalities but lots of folks related to these chemicals are going to be problematic. And glad to be in a position where at least we can be looking at what we might be able to recover from existing lawsuits. What's your recommended motion?
Councilor Harden, did you have a question?
Yeah, one quick one.
Okay.
So there's a discussion in the write-up about a class action lawsuit. Are we thinking about opting in or opting out of that?
So right now, the litigation's taking shape much like the opioid litigation. So it is multi-jurisdictional class action litigation against the manufacturers of these products. So the two listed cases in the agenda are class action litigation lawsuits that have been removed to the multi-jurisdictional venue. So we have received notice that either the city or the SUA, I believe specifically it's the water treatment plant, are potential claimants. So what that means is that as they progress towards a proposed settlement, we will have a deadline where we have to either opt out, or we just want to make sure that at this time that we have retained counsel so we can preserve both the city and SUA's interests in that specific litigation and any other PFAS-related litigation.
Thank you.
Anything further, councilors? What's your recommendation, Kimberly?
Recommend a motion to retain McAfee and Taft and Fulmer and Sill to represent the city's interests in the pending class action litigation listed on the agenda involving 3M and DuPont and other defendants and other litigation related to PFAS contamination.
Councilors?
I move to approve staff recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve the recommendation. Please vote. It's approved with a vote of 5-0. Item 8, resolutions. Resolution CC-2023-39, a resolution concerning the City of Stillwater's bridge inspection responsibility pursuant to national bridge inspection standards and notification to the Oklahoma Department of Transportation of bridge inspection consultant selection for bridge inspection contracts commencing April 1st, 2024 through March 31st, 2026. Candy Starr.
Good evening, Council. Our bridge inspection program happens every 2 years. As selection, we have 4 options to choose from. When this comes up, ODOT, we can either select from the pre-qualified list of engineers that they give us. We can have our own staff do the inspection if they're a National Bridge Inspection Standards certified engineer, which we do not have. We can utilize the same bridge inspection consultant that Payne County is using, or we can allow ODOT to make the selection for us. So this year we selected the option number 1, where we shortlist firms and interview them, and we had those interviews a couple weeks ago, and we ended up selecting the Burgess and Neipel consultant firm. They will do this for 2 years for us, and they offered to they showed us how they would do their reporting, which we really appreciated, because when there are small things that we can do in-house, they will tell us how to do some of those things, and we can pass those off to Public Works and get a lot done without actually having to go to design. Is there any questions?
Councilors? I assume your recommendation is that we pass the resolution?
That is the recommendation, yes.
All right. Thank you, Candy.
Thank you.
Councilors?
Motion to adopt resolution CC-2023-39.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. That resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Resolution number 2023-40, a resolution adopting the revised rate structure for electric sales, providing for subsequent rate increases, and providing an effective date. Mr. Moore.
Yes, Council, before you are these resolutions that you'll also see on SUA as well. But these are the proposed utility rate recommendations from our performed utility rate studies. Utility rate studies were presented to the council and trustees and to the public over the last couple months, and I'll give a quick overview of that public process just to remind those that are listening the schedule that we went through. And on September 25th, the City Council at a study session heard the electric and stormwater presentations, findings, and recommendations. On October 2nd, City Council heard the water and wastewater presentations, findings, and recommendations. And then on October 4th, staff attended the Chamber Infrastructure Committee meeting. We presented all of the utility rate studies briefly and had answered a lot of questions from the committee members. On October 10th, an engineering team met with the Kiwanis Club and to discuss the water and wastewater rate study. Then we held those two town hall meetings on October 10th and October 12th. There we presented briefly, staff presented the electric, water, wastewater, and stormwater studies along with those example bill increases. And then again on the October 16th City Council meeting, Christy Cluck and staff presented the examples of those residential and commercial average bills over a 5-year period and what the effect of those would have on the bills. And then just last week on November 1st, we went back to the Chamber Infrastructure Committee meeting, presented the bills again that Christy had presented here to council, and as well as the document that we had created to answer all the town hall questions that had come up at the town halls. In addition to all these public meetings, we have posted all the information related to the rate studies and all the links to the presentations that were here at council on the city's website at stillwaterok.gov/rate study. So all that information is there and has been seen. And as well on that same page was that example bill calculator that was created by staff that people could put in their information and see what the bills would be over a 5-year period. We have all the directors here tonight in those specific utility areas. So if you have any questions as we go through these resolutions, please reach out to us. Please bring up the questions and we will answer them the best we can. And before this electric resolution is considered, I'm going to ask Lauren Smith, our electric utility director, to clarify a typo that was in just one of the rate classes.
Good evening, councilors. Lauren Smith, electric utility director. The electric rate schedule proposed for adoption was updated a couple times to correct a label under the commercial ground source heat pump section, which is row 45 through 49 on the attachment to the resolution. The correct schedule to reference has the heading Final Version for Adoption at the top of the projected rate schedule and was included in the latest agenda packet posted online. We thought there was a typo in the label between rows 45 through 49 related to 20,000 kilowatt hours, but turns out there was not. So we just want to make sure you have the most accurate and correct version in front of you.
Thank you, Lord. Mr. Moore, what's your recommendation?
Well, our recommendation would be to adopt the resolutions, and if you have any questions, we can answer those.
Councilors?
I think it's just worth noting, we have had consultants come in and look at this. We've had our city staff that has looked at this and studied this, and it's all been presented to the council. And I think none of us take this lightly that we're looking at rate increases. But I think it's also worth noting that through the years, and especially during the pandemic, we put a lot of those increases and studies on hold, and even the inflationary increases on hold because of the economic impact that the pandemic had on our community. And so we've now find ourselves in a position where we really do need these rate increases to be able to maintain services and maintain our infrastructure.
That was really well said. I do think, though, there are two things that I would like to maybe hear from staff, just maybe from the presentations we had from our residents today, but also just other conversations that I've had. And I guess they would relate to the conservation programs and also understanding the effects and impacts of this on residents in our community. Is there any research or work that we can do in order to provide additional incentives, or not incentives, that's not the right word, measures to help people that might have challenges meeting their bills?
You bet. Both great questions. To take a stab at the conservation piece, we did away with the block billing in residential that actually promoted usage rather than incentivized conservation. There certainly were some great points made about programs we could look at for our citizens to help them reduce their
Do we have any existing programs? Is this something that we've worked on in the past, or is it something we'd have to really start from scratch?
We do. We have a hot water tank rebate and things like that for electric, as well as ground source heat pump for residential and commercial rates that are beneficial. So yeah, we wouldn't be starting from scratch, but we would certainly look at options.
I think that's something with the work that the Renewable Energy Task Force and the conversation that's already started there, and the impact that we know this may have on people with, restricted incomes, and perhaps that conversation we need to dive a little deeper into that. I would like to see staff maybe evaluate. Sounds like there's some really cool programs that other people have provided. Sure. Maybe there's some other options that make sense for our own utility from a conservation perspective.
We'd be happy to look into that.
I feel like we've talked about some of those audits and some of that conservation stuff that we're going to adopt once we've got smart metering in place. It's going to allow us to do some additional work when it comes to helping folks see where their energy bills could come down.
You bet. There's all kinds of things once you get the AMI involved that you can help design rates around for time of use to incentivize people to get off peak. And so OG&E, I think I heard mentioned, has some programs that basically incentivize people to not use so much during the peak time. So that can be done via rates, but we need that telemetry first before we can do something like that. We certainly, with the rollout of AMI, we have a customer portal, where you can go in and see your usage and all that. So.
Yeah, I'll just say I agree with the Vice Mayor. I appreciate, Robin, you bringing this list, and we will we'll sit as staff and look through on ways that we can be competitive and look at adopting some of these programs here at the City of Stillwater. Thank you.
I think, are there any measure? I know we've talked maybe before about on our bills, we're all able to round up in order to help community members that may have challenges paying their bills. And I know in the course of the rate conversations, we've talked about highlighting that program more, advertising that program more. I think when MMO was here, they mentioned just in conversation that there was potentially some other state programs or federal programs that we potentially could be looking at to support low-income community members and meeting their bills. I would like to see us do some research on those types of programs as well, to make sure maybe our community already has access to them, but there might be more people that might be in need of this, just to to give that as a resource out to the community.
Yeah, Dana, can you share real quick, some of the assistance programs that are out there that when people come looking for assistance?
Yeah, Dana Maddox, Utility and Billing Services Director. So we don't do round up, but we do have the ability for our customers to make a donation. So there is an option on the bill stub that they can check if they want to add additional money to their payment. And then what we do with that money is right now, Community Action administers that to us. So we hold the funds, and once a month we tell them how much money we have collected. And through their process of interviewing their clients, then they will notify us once somebody has met those criterias to be eligible for money. So then we track that balance each month. We do have a pamphlet that we hand out that does list all of the agencies and what they provide. So Salvation Army, Department of Health, Salvation Army, it's it's like a whole list, and their location, their phone number, and also what they help with. So whether it's food or shelter or travel or utilities, just to help outside of even utilities that they might need some assistance with.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks, Dana.
Dana, before you go away, one quick question. When I pay online, like I get my bill and then I do an online payment through my bank account, if I put anything extra in there, will it automatically go to that fund, or what does that
Are you
happen?
on auto pay
No.
or just online?
Yep.
On auto pay, we do have a form just because we're going to add to your account, your bank account each month. We'll have to look at the online. I don't know for
recall
sure.
seeing.
Yeah.
I mean, I would like to do that, but I don't recall seeing a way to do that.
I think you actually just, when I did this, I came and filled out a form at the front desk and marked a certain amount of money. When I found out we got paid as counselors, I decided to donate that. I didn't realize we got paid. So, but it's very easy to do on a form, and then even if you're auto paying your bill, it's just automatically on the bill every month.
Yeah, if you're on auto pay, but if you're just going online to the portal to make your payment, I don't think there's an option on there, but we can definitely look into getting that added.
Okay.
And if I
So,
pay
yeah,
through,
I
and if I
appreciate
pay
that.
through Quicken Bill Pay, same thing.
Yeah,
Yeah.
probably so.
Okay.
Thank you.
Further comments or questions about the resolution? Is there action on the resolution?
Motion to adopt resolution CC-2023-40.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Resolution 2023-41 is a resolution adopting the revised rate structure for water and wastewater utility services, providing for subsequent rate increases, and providing an effective date. Mr. Moore, anything further to say about this one?
No, same recommendation, and we have our Candy Starring is in here to represent any questions that you have.
Councilors, any questions? I will say that I got honestly not as much feedback from people as I expected to get about all of these all of these issues. Water was probably the one I heard the most about, and I think everybody that contacted me about water said we need to fix, we need to make sure we're keeping the water system up and running, and so we appreciate the fact that we're doing that through these rates. And so again, as commented earlier, it's not a small thing, and water rates especially will be something that we're all going to see on our bill going up. But the system that provides clean water to the city has got to be maintained, and I think folks in the community recognize that and recognize the true investment and impact that these rates will make in that system. So.
I think we also know that the city is looking at grants and assistance to also help with the water infrastructure. And, if we end up getting more of those than we are currently assuming, then that's possible that the rates could be adjusted and the increases adjusted down.
Further questions, comments about the resolution? Is there action on the resolution?
Move to adopt resolution CC 2023-41.
Second?
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Resolution 2023-42, a resolution adopting a revised monthly fee schedule for the stormwater utility and providing an effective date. Councilors?
Move to adopt resolution CC 2023-42.
Second.
With a motion and a second to adopt the resolution, please vote. Resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Appreciates all staff's work on those very intensive studies over several months and even a couple years on a couple of them. So we appreciate that, and we know it's never easy to have to look at charging folks more for services, but it is part of what we need to do to keep things running. So Number 9 is ordinances. On second reading, we have ordinance 3527, an ordinance rezoning a tract of land located at 716 West 11th Avenue from small lot single-family residential to two-family multifamily district. Councilors?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3527.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the ordinance. Please vote. Ordinance 3527 is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Ordinance 3528 is an ordinance rezoning a tract of land located at 847 West Eskridge Avenue from small lot single-family residential district to two-family residential district. Councilors?
Motion to adopt ordinance number 3528.
Second.
We have a motion and a second. Please vote. Ordinance 3528 is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Reports from the officers and the board. Ms. Carnley?
Nothing to report.
Mr. Moore?
Yes, in an effort to best serve our community and become more efficient, the City Hall main phone number has changed to an automated system. Staff put a lot of time into really thinking through all the call data that we get and how we could have an efficient system to get customers quickly to the exact place that they need to be. And so as of last Monday, October 30th, we started implementing the new service, and we've been actually very pleased with how little hiccups we've had. But like any new process, we will continue to work through any kinks. So we have a new automated calling system, and you can actually look at the menu for that on our website if you're interested. It's stillwaterok.gov/contact. And this will direct you to all our different departments, including public safety, utility billing, and then all the other departments like the Stillwater Regional Airport, Public Library, Community Center, and the Senior Activity Center. So it's so far it's worked really well.
Good. Excellent. Vice Mayor Jaloski?
Yes, possible severe winter weather is just around the corner. Goodness.
It's 80 degrees.
Doesn't feel like it today, does it? Be sure to have multiple ways to receive warnings and alerts to help protect you and your family. Follow City of Stillwater Emergency Management, that's STWSEMA, on Facebook and Twitter for important updates and information. Director Rob Hill and his team continuously monitor the weather and remain in communication with the National Weather Service out of Norman. Their social media pages are an additional reliable resource for the latest weather alerts. I know I often look for him when I'm wondering whether his early morning jaunts, if I think school might be canceled or not. I feel like he helps with that. So
Sure. Councilor Hawkins?
The city is accepting applications for a citizen representative to fill a Board of Adjustment position. The board consists of 5 members who are empowered by city code to conduct hearings and render decisions on matters of appeals, variances, and special exceptions to the zoning ordinance. The board is considered to be quasi-judicial in that its decisions can only be overturned by district court. The term length is 3 years. If you would like to get involved in local government and help make Stillwater even greater, please consider applying online at stillwaterok.gov/citizen boards.
Thank you, Councilor. Councilor Clark?
City offices will be closed on Thursday, November 23 and Friday, November 24 for the Thanksgiving holiday. Trash and recycling will be collected as usual. However, the Convenience Collection Center will be closed and yard waste will not be collected. As always, set your carts out by 6 a.m. because collection routes may vary.
It's hard to believe it's already Thanksgiving.
How about
time. Councilor Harden?
Speaking of hard to believe, the Stillwater Holiday Parade of Lights will be starting. If you would like to participate in that, please complete a form online at stillwaterok.gov/holidays or in person at Stillwater Community Center, Visit Stillwater, or Stillwater Chamber of Commerce. The parade will be Thursday, December 7th. The deadline to submit entries is Friday, November 17th, so it's coming up. This year's theme is Holidays in Stillwater, which gives entrants an opportunity to really showcase their creativity. The event kicks off on Main Street from 9th to 7th Avenues over to Husband at 6:30 p.m. with candy and lightsabers for the kids. I want a lightsaber too. The parade will begin at 7 p.m. and afterwards we'll have the official tree lighting at 8 p.m. at Chris Salmon Plaza at 9th and Main. For official Stillwater Holidays calendar of events, go to visitstillwater.org.
Yep, Christmas parade time. That's fun.
It's scary.
Last week, we enjoyed hosting our sister city students and a delegation from Kamioka, Japan. 7 middle schoolers and 3 adults as part of the delegation really enjoyed spending time with the Stillwater Public School students and staff, our police, fire departments, city staff, and community members. I exchanged letters and gifts with their superintendent and also with Mayor Katsuragawa, who was not able to make this trip, although he was here in 2019, so we were able to meet then. Many of the gifts are on display in our Kamioka room at the Stillwater Community Center. And if you haven't been over there, there's some really great gifts and displays and just information about our sister city relationship with Kamioka. So it's really worth your time. There's also a little display case just outside the city manager's sort of suite here in City Hall with a number of really beautiful gifts that we've received from Kamioka over the years. Many thanks to everyone who made this possible, including Stillwater Public Schools, the Stillwater Community Center Foundation, Stephanie Kinder here at the city, who's just worked tirelessly, Carrie Quigley as the teacher sort of that organized things from the Stillwater Public Schools side. They really spent a ton of time sort of going into this, but also just this week in dealing with the delegation here. It was really a fantastic visit. It's exciting to have the opportunity for our sister city visits to start again, and I believe next year we'll be looking at the ability to send students and a delegation to Kamioka from here in Stillwater. This is one of many relationships we're incredibly proud of and continue to strengthen in order to learn from each other. Anything further?
I would just quickly compliment the City of Stillwater employees, our emergency management, our fire department, our police department. We've had over the last several weeks homecoming and bedlam, and just a big thanks to them for everything they do behind the scenes and to keep our community safe.
Amen. I know those folks have been working tirelessly over the last couple of weeks, and it's nice to have an away game coming up this weekend, so maybe everybody get a little sleep. We appreciate that. Thanks for bringing that up. Is there a motion to adjourn the city council meeting?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn city council. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, the city council is now adjourned. At this time, I will call to order the November 6, 2023 meeting of the Stillwater Utilities Authority. Trustees, comments, questions, or action on the consent docket?
Motion to approve the consent docket.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve consent. Please vote. Consent docket is approved with a vote of 5-0. Under general orders, we have the retention of McAfee and Taft, as was discussed at city council meeting. Trustees, questions, comments, or action on that recommendation?
I have a recommended motion to retain McAfee and Taft and Fulmer and Sill to represent the SUA's interests in the pending class action litigation listed on the agenda involving 3M and DuPont and other defendants, and other litigation related to PFAS contamination.
Motion to approve staff's recommendation.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to approve that item. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, that is approved. Resolution SUA 2023-7, a resolution adopting the revised rate structure for electric sales, providing for subsequent rate increases, and providing an effective date. These are the sister resolutions to what we discussed in City Council. Trustees, questions, comments, or action on the resolution?
I move to adopt resolution SUA 2023-7.
Second.
Motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Vote of 5-0, resolution is adopted. Resolution SUA-2023-8, a resolution adopting the revised rate structure for water and wastewater utility services, providing for subsequent rate increases, and providing an effective date. Trustees?
Motion to adopt resolution number SUA 2023-8.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adopt the resolution. Please vote. Resolution is adopted with a vote of 5-0. Any reports from the officers of the board? Is there a motion to adjourn?
So moved.
Second.
We have a motion and a second to adjourn SUA. Please vote. With a vote of 5-0, the Stillwater Utilities Authority is now adjourned, and that concludes our meetings for the evening.